Gaming can be an incredibly expensive hobby, and I do this for a living, so I'm always looking for the best deal possible when it comes to anything to do with gaming. So today we're coming to Costco to see if it's good for gamers. We're going to be looking at all of the available gaming items within Costco, PCs, consoles, controllers, whatever we can find, comparing the prices to those that are publicly available, because you do have to be a member to come to Costco. And then I'll be buying at least one piece of gear to upgrade my setup and giving you a full review of whether Costco is a good place for gamers. Let's go and check it out. So there's currently 3 consoles available in Costco. You've got the PlayStation 5 disc slim console, the 1TB version. That's coming out at £473.98, including VAT. You have to be careful in the shop because it shows all the prices excluding VAT. It's like being in America. Lots of fun. You've also got the Nintendo Switch Neon with 2 games, Big Brain and Everybody. That's coming out at £239.96. You need to check the prices on that because with the release of the Switch 2, the prices are probably going to have gone down. But they also do have a Nintendo Switch 2 with Mario Kart World, and that's coming out at £419.98, including VAT. So we'll check out the real prices that we can get publicly and see if it's worth buying those things in Costco rather than buying them publicly. There's actually 3 PCs on display in Costco, but only 2 that I can see prices for and 2 that I can see specs for. One of the ones that I can see a spec for, I can't see a price for. One of the ones that I can see a price for, I can't see a spec for. But we'll go through the specs of those. I'll go through them, look at what those parts would cost, and see if it's worth either buying a pre-built from somewhere else or buying the parts individually and building yourself, which I know sounds scary, but if I can do it, I'm pretty sure anyone can do it. First PC I came across was this CyberPower build. It costs £1,679.98, so pretty pricey. Comes in a Corsair 3500X case, AMD Ryzen 7 9800X 3D processor, RTX 5070 graphics card, 32 gig of DDR5 RAM, and a 1TB M.2 NVMe drive. The next one was this fairly nice looking AWD IT build. I'll go over the price of this one at the end of the video. You guys can let me know what you think of the spec for the price. It's pretty vague, to be honest with you. It says it comes with a Ryzen 5 processor, an RTX 5060 8GB, a terabyte of NVMe SSD storage, 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and a 400D Corsair case. The build looks fairly nice, but let me know down in the comments what you think of these 2 builds for the price they cost. In terms of peripherals, there's one thing that caught my eye, and there only seems to be one of them left. There's the Logitech G29 Driving Force racing wheel that's for PlayStation and PC. This is £239.96, comes with a wheel and the pedals. I love all things Logitech. I've done a lot of work with them, so this is super interesting. I'm incredibly keen to see whether it's cheaper to buy this directly through Logitech or to buy it from Costco itself. For headsets, we have an ROG Delta S. That's a wired gaming headset. It's coming out at £47.98, including VAT. We also have a JBL Quantum 360X wireless headset, which is coming out at £59.98, including VAT. In terms of screens, we've got 2. One of them is a HP 24-inch VA monitor. Honestly, it doesn't look like it's worth looking at. This feels like a monitor that you would get in an office where you hate your life and all you want to do is become a full-time content creator and gamer. I've worked on these monitors a lot, £71.98. This one though looks super interesting. This is the Samsung 34-inch VA monitor. I'll show you the model number and stuff. This is coming out at £299.98 plus VAT. My biggest bottleneck at the moment in terms of my PC build is in fact my monitors. This looks super interesting to me. The only problem is I can't see any of the boxes on the shelves. I can only see this one on display. So we're gonna need to have a little look around to see if we can find this, or maybe see if we can buy the display item for a cheaper cost. But if there's anything I might buy today, it may well be this, because I desperately need a new monitor for my editing, for my gaming. This, from the spec that I've searched online, because again I can't see it anywhere, is a 4K 100 Hz refresh rate, 34 inches curved monitor. It looks really nice. I just need to see if it's actually viable. The other option, of course, is that I buy one of the many many TVs that are available in Costco. I mean, if you want a new TV, this place is the place to come. There are so many options of great TVs here. Huge TVs. Got on a Hisense QLED 65-inch there, which looks absolutely phenomenal. All of my TVs have been Hisense so far. They've done me pretty good. Samsung Crystal UHD, LG screens there. This one's not on, but look at the size of this. I mean, it's hard to tell, but this is massive. Look, this is me standing next to it. It's nearly as tall as I am. Just as a slight side note, aside from gaming, drones are just a lot of fun. DJI Mini 4 Pro coming out at £635.98 including VAT. These are just really fun. I've got a DJI Mini 4K, not the Pro. You've got a Hero 13 Black Edition GoPro, an Insta360. The GoPro is £395.98. The Insta360 is £419.98. And for all you content creators that might be watching, I'm literally filming this on this item right here, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I bought the creator combo. I can't remember how much it cost, £500-600 or something. This is not the creator combo. This is just the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It comes with a 128GB SD card, £395.98. This feels like it might be quite a good deal. I need to check what that costs alone, but £395.98. This is such a great piece of kit. I am literally filming this on the Osmo Pocket 3 now, so you get an idea of what the quality of that's like. It's slightly aside from gaming, but fun nonetheless. I am slightly surprised not to see any Xboxes or PS5 Pros in here. Like, that's a slight surprise to me. PS5 Pro is obviously the latest edition of the PlayStation, so you'd expect to see that in here. And the Xbox, you know, although I don't own an Xbox, it seems like a great option. If you're a console gamer, the fact that Game Pass exists and you get so much access to so much stuff on the Xbox is phenomenal, especially as they start to bring more things in, like access to Steam games and stuff. What I'm super interested in is if when the ROG Ally X Xbox handheld comes out, if that's in here, I might be taking a trip down to Costco just to buy that. Is it really a gaming video if we don't talk about energy drinks? And if you're looking for a shitload of energy drinks, then Costco might be the place to go. Just check this out. All of this is just like energy drink central. You've got Emerge energy drink, never heard of that. £6.58 for all of those. Monster Energy Ultra, £10.78 for 3, 6, 9, 12 cans. £10.66 for the Monster Energy, the green ones, again for 12. Peaches and Cream, £12.58. Ruby Red for £10.78. You've got the Boost Energy Originals, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 for £8.38. A whole bunch of Red Bull stuff here. Look, this is God knows how many. 3 8-packs for £20.86, or 12 giant ones, 437 mils. Look at the size of these cans, they're absolutely massive. £19.66, or 24 300, like the normal size cans, for £29.14. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what would happen, do you think, if you drank all of those in a day? 24. I think I'd definitely die. Also filmed this video in September, and like a whole bunch of the store is taken up with giant baubles and glowing wreaths and glowing lampposts and Christmas trees. No, too early for that business. Way too early. Come with me for a sec. I just found something. This is tucked away in the corner, but again, very much gaming related, unlike the Christmas aisle, which is blowing my mind. We have got gaming chairs. This Lazy Boy. Well, this is a manager chair, but it looks super comfy. £209.98. Let's give it a test. It's a bit squeaky, but it is comfortable. Okay, here we got a bit more of a traditional gaming chair. DPS, never heard of them. Seems to be all adjustable. This one is £155.98. Oh, someone set the armrests at different heights, which is why I look so wonky. I promise you, I'm a perfectly level person. I'm not usually this wonky. Okay, we're back in the car and I'm super excited because I just got what I think might be the deal of the century. It took a while because they couldn't find the stock, they couldn't find the thing. There's a whole story behind it. Basically, I had to haggle my way into getting one of the best deals of the century. But I'm going to go home. We're going to take a look at the prices of all the other stuff that was in Costco compared to the public prices. And then I'm going to reveal what I bought today from Costco, how much I paid for it, how much of it's available for publicly, and then we're going to have a look at it and see how it performs. I'm back from Costco, and due to the passage of time, I'm wearing a slightly different t-shirt. This is my Helldivers t-shirt, which I wasn't wearing yesterday when I recorded the main part of the Costco video. But hey, we can cope with a little bit of lack of continuity. That's absolutely fine. I have here my receipt for the item that I purchased from Costco that we're going to be looking over in a second. I genuinely think this is the deal of the century. I think you guys are going to be shocked and blown away by how much I saved on this item. I literally could not turn this deal down, but there's a little bit of a story behind it. So we'll go through that in a minute. Before we do that, we're going to go through all the gaming items that we saw in Costco, look at their public prices and how much they cost in Costco to see if it's actually worth me having a Costco membership specifically for gaming items. I've got everything written down in my trusty Star Wars notebook. So here we go. There was 3 consoles available in Costco. The first one that we saw was the PS5 Slim Disc Edition, the 1TB, and that was £473.98 in Costco. Publicly on the Sony website, that item was £479.99, so it's a £6 and 1 pence saving. I know, absolutely mind blowing. The things you could buy with £6 and 1 pence, but it gets even better. The Switch with the Big Brain and the Everybody Switch bundle, the 2 games and the normal Switch, not the Switch 2, that was £239.96 in Costco. Publicly, £240. That is a 4 pence saving, people. 4 pence. That is 4 penny sweets that you could buy with that. Unbelievable scenes that we're seeing in Costco there. Next up, the Switch 2 with the Mario Kart Digital Edition. In Costco, this one is actually slightly better. In Costco, it's £419.98 for, you know, it's a brand new console with a brand new game pretty much. Publicly on the Nintendo website, that was £429.99. So you're looking at a £10 and 1 pence saving. I honestly, on the big new branded stuff, didn't expect to see huge savings. I don't imagine Nintendo wants the Switch 2 to be out there at huge discounted prices. I think the margin on those are probably pretty thin, so I didn't expect to see huge savings. So £10 is actually not bad. The next one is super interesting, moving into peripherals. We saw the Logitech G29 driving wheel and pedals. Now, in Costco, that was £239.96. When I looked on the Logitech website, initially I was like, cool. There's a saving here, £249.99 on the Costco website. So we had a £10 and 4 pence saving, phenomenal. But then I had a further look, and actually on Argos you could get the same thing for £229.99. So always worth checking around to see if there's a better deal available. This next one very nearly took the crown for the biggest saving at Costco, but it didn't quite get there because of the item that I bought. This is the ROG Delta S wired headset. I genuinely still believe, even though I've done all the research I can, that I might have made a mistake here, because in Costco, this was £47.98, right? £47.98. When I looked on the ROG website for the Delta S wired headset, it was £177.99, which means you've got £130 and 1 pence saving there. That is absolutely huge. Like, how can Costco possibly sell that same thing? If I've made a mistake, guys, let me know in the comments, because that seems unbelievable to me, but that is a huge saving if you're looking for what is quite an expensive headset for very, very cheap. The next headset we saw was the JBL Quantum 360X wireless headset in Costco. It's £59.98. Publicly, this was available for £74.99. So you're talking a £15.01 saving, which is not bad at all. Next up, we had the Samsung 34-inch ultra-wide monitor. This was available in Costco for £299.98. Publicly, I found this available for £399.98, so a £100 saving. Pretty good. That is pretty good. Looking at the PCs, this was slightly more difficult to get my head around because finding the exact match, etc., was fairly difficult. First one we saw was the CyberPower PC, which came in at £1,679.88 in Costco. I found a similar one on CyberPower that was pretty much the same spec, maybe slightly different case and stuff, for £1,923.60, so 243 plus savings there. Pretty decent. The AWD one was £689.99. It was about equal in Costco and on the AWD website, so no real savings on there. Finally, we're looking at the gaming chairs. The Lazy Boy Comfort Core Plus at Costco was £290.98. It's not really a gaming chair, more of like an office manager chair, like, I'm the big boss, look at me in my giant padded chair, that kind of thing. But was fairly comfortable when I sat in it. That is publicly available for £299, so £89, 2 pence saving, pretty good there. And then the DPS chair, I realised is actually only available in Costco, so whatever the price was is whatever you're going to pay for it, you know? So that's that. Shall we talk about the item that I bought? Now, you remember that when I was in Costco, I came across the Samsung 34-inch monitor. And I was like, this looks like a good deal. The biggest bottleneck in my PC setup is actually my monitors. So I have a PC that I built myself. You can see the video on the YouTube channel. I'll put a link here. It has a Ryzen 9 7950X3D, RTX 4070 Super, 64 gig of DDR5 RAM. It's a nice build, but I had two monitors that are 1080p, 60 Hertz. So that means that even though I could play games, my system is capable of playing games in 4K, you know, whatever frames I can get, you know, probably 120, 240 frames plus. My monitors couldn't deal with that anyway. My monitors are only ever going to display it in 1080p, and it was always going to be capped at 60 frames per second because the refresh rate of the monitors isn't high enough to deal with anything else. So it's been a problem for a while. It's been a problem for me editing. It's been a problem for me gaming because the colors, the quality just wasn't there with the monitors. So when I was going into Costco, I was kind of thinking, you know, if a monitor is a good deal, that'd be a great one for me. So when I saw this Samsung 34-inch ultra wide, I was like, great, this one looks good. I need to check whether it's a good deal and then go from there. However, I couldn't see the monitor on the shelf. I couldn't see, I could see the display item, but there were no boxes containing that monitor. So I spoke to one of the Costco staff who was super helpful, and she called another member of Costco staff who was hiding somewhere. I don't know, he was in training or something. And he took about 10 minutes to come over. They looked at the monitor. It turned out that the sign that we saw for that Samsung 34-inch monitor was a slightly different model code to the monitor that was actually on display by one letter. So I had a quick search for the new model code to see what kind of spec it was. It was a, you know, it's a 34-inch monitor, 4K, 100 Hertz, which I know is, look, I know 100 Hertz is not out there in terms of quality. I know it's not the best thing that you've ever seen, but going from 60 Hertz to 100 Hertz and from 1080p to 4K is sweet. So it was a great spec of a monitor compared to what I had at the moment, and it gave me all this space, all this ultra wide space to be able to enjoy gaming and stuff. So I had a look, the spec looked good, and I was like, do you think you guys would let me buy the display item? Like, is that possible? Because their stock was showing that they had none left. The guy went away and had a look, and he came back and he said, that monitor's actually been reduced in price. It's the display item, you have to buy it as seen. So it came with a stand and the monitor and a power cable. That's it, no box, no nothing. But he came back and he said, this is actually reduced to £179.96, including the VAT. Now, when I had a look online at the model code for this monitor, the prices were anywhere from like £350 to £450, in and around that area. £180 for a 34-inch 1080p monitor, I think is a deal to be had anyway. £180 for a 4K 100Hz 34-inch ultra-wide monitor from Samsung, I genuinely think is the deal of the century. I think I could sell this monitor today and make a healthy profit just by putting it on Facebook Marketplace. So that's what we've gone for. And just check up how the setup looks now. It is absolutely gorgeous. We've downloaded Wallpaper Engine from Steam to get some beautiful backgrounds on there. It takes up the majority of my desk. I've decided to take my lower quality monitor, the 1080p 60Hz, and make that a vertical setup. I now have one spare monitor, which I'm thinking about mounting above the other two. I've just got to figure out how that all sits. But honestly, this thing is a pleasure to sit on and play. When I sit there and it kind of wraps around you slightly, because it's so wide, it almost takes up your entire field of vision. So you're not necessarily having to look around, it just kind of consumes you. I've done a couple of ultra wide demos on there and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy with how this monitor looks in the setup, and I'm so happy to have an upgrade where I'm getting a better representation of what my machine is capable of. Honestly, I'd love a 240Hz monitor, 4K, but this deal I just couldn't turn down. The only problem is you can't really replicate this deal. Because it's a display item, because it's the last one, because it was reduced, I'm probably the only person on the planet that is gonna get this monitor for that price. But there are some other good deals to be had at Costco, some very small savings, some large savings. And that's without getting into all of the other things that we looked at, like the Red Bulls and the Monsters and the snacks, which Costco is great for. Like if you want a really massive, really cheap pizza, Costco is the place to go. If you need to buy a pizza and new tires for your car at the same time, Costco is the place to go. Do you need a tray of chicken salad that can feed roughly 80 people? Costco is the place to go. There's so many great things about Costco. Some of their gaming stuff leaves a little bit to be desired, but overall, I think the membership is worth it. Let me know what you would have bought if you'd have gone to Costco and seen the same stuff that I did. I think I got the best deal that was available to me, but there was some of the cool stuff there. Don't forget, if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost a single thing to subscribe to this channel, but it means a lot to me and it really helps the channel grow. And I'd love to see you guys on the next video. So likes, comments, shares, all massively appreciated. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.